back to my channel. I have another book review for you guys today. Finally. After however long. Anyway, welcome to my channel. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. We have another romance series for you guys today that we are going to be reviewing. This series is by AshleyNicole. The series is called Preto. I hope I'm saying this right. Preto Village. There are 4 books in this series. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I did not want to read these books at first, but I really like her Mason family series novels. So I kept skipping these books, and I was like, you know what? I'm out of Mason books. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna just see what they're about. So there are 4 books in the series. We are gonna do each book today. I'm just gonna go book by book as I read them because that's just the easiest thing for me to do. So if you guys are interested, let's get into it. I would not classify these as like urban. They're not urban books. They are Black romance books, but they give more, maybe contemporary is the word I'm looking for. Let's go with that. All right, so the first book in the series is called Bless Your Heart. It is 174 pages long. I rated this book a 4 out of 5. I'm going to read the synopsis I have first. If you guys are new to my channel, the synopsis that I read is pulled from Amazon. Sometimes it's the whole synopsis, sometimes it's bits and pieces, sometimes I cut and paste the synopsis for the parts that I need for me to remember what the book is about. But usually the synopsis is pulled from Amazon. It is not something that I've made up on my own. So, book 1, Bless Your Heart. The synopsis is: welcome to Preto Village, a beautiful Black community where everybody knows your business and has no qualms about sharing it. For charity, life up north had long become stale and stagnant. It was time for a change and adventure. Buying a house in the tiny town of Preto seemed the thing to do. Change and adventure weren't supposed to include a man, though. Enter Dr. Keegan. What is this, Francois? He's Preto. Is it Preto or Preto? He's Preto's most eligible bachelor, born and raised in the town. There are certain expectations on his shoulders that an outsider won't fit into. Will he conform to the expectations or learn to live for his own desires? Tis the synopsis. Real quick, I do want to say a lot of these books are rooted in, not rooted, but there's a lot of there is a religious aspect to these books, just like most small town romances, which is also why I was skipping them at first. But it's literally just a background thing. It is not enough of a focal point to where it deters you from reading the book if you're one of those people like me who do not like romance novels that are preachy, if that makes sense. All right, so my thoughts about this book. I said the banter between Charity and Keegan is very fun. It doesn't come off as being like too serious. Like, you can tell they just genuinely are friends. And I also said that I like their energy. Keegan is, how do I want to say this? He's the town doctor, but he's like, he has out of town experience. I forgot what state or city he ended up moving to. It might have been like New York or something. I can't remember. But he left their small town for school, and he was supposed to be gone permanently, but his father died, and so he ends up moving back home because his mom is in the town by herself, and she doesn't want to be by herself. He's a bit of a mama's boy. So he moves back to town, and he's now working at the one medical practice in the town that an older townie owns, who's also a doctor. And the original owner of said clinic is running it like the shade room child. Like, he in there telling everybody business, the receptionist, the medical assistants, everybody else who worked there is telling everybody's business. And Charity is new to the town. She faints because she overheats. It's so hot in the town. She overheats her first day, so she faints and ends up having to go to the clinic to be checked out. And that's where she meets Keegan. But it's a very, like, natural flow of relationship. And I don't know, they have really good energy together. I said Ali and May are hilarious, LMAO. They're brother and sister. And y'all know how older relatives are, older people are once they get like 80s, 90s, in their 80s and 90s, and 70s, 80s, 90s, where they have like no filter. And they don't really care what you think about what they have to say. They're going to say it anyway. That's the vibe they give. And they spend a lot of time arguing and bickering with each other and talking junk about each other. And I think that that's so cute to see as older siblings. As somebody who also has siblings, it's so cute to read about. I did have some cons. I said that, oh, and there is also a bit of the mama's boy aspect does play into the story, where Keegan's mom is dead set on him being with a townie, basically, and doesn't like that he's interested in this girl from out of town. And so she does kind of do little things to poke at their relationship. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but that does happen in the book. Anyways, the stuff that I did have as a con, I said I wish the story was a little longer, and the pacing at the end was kind of quick. It's like once the story got to a certain point, it felt like this. And it felt like you could tell, it was almost like how many pages did I say it was? 170 something, maybe? It almost felt like, come on, scroll up. Scroll up. 174. It almost felt like the author was trying not to go up 175 pages, if that makes sense. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like it got to a certain point and it was so quick paced, it just was going. And it's like, it almost, I'm not gonna say almost, it did. It made me feel like I was missing certain details just for the sake of staying under 175 pages is what it kind of felt like. Some stuff I did like. I like that their breakup made sense. It wasn't just a filler for the story. I think what some romance novels do is they just throw a breakup in. They make the characters randomly have a problem, and you're like, where'd that breakup come from? Whereas this story, the breakup was rooted in the drama with the mama. So it wasn't unexpected. It wasn't a situation where I was like, well, that was a dumb reason to break up. The breakup made sense for what the story was. So it like was a through line of the story. So I was happy about that. I was happy that it wasn't just a thrown in breakup, and it was a breakup that actually fit with the story and made sense for the story. And based on what we have been reading all book, you could understand why the breakup would happen. So once again, I rated that book a 4 out of 5. I highly recommend this series. I like this series. I forgot to mention that these are all standalones. You don't have to read one to read the other per se. It helps because it gives you a little more detail about the main characters do become background characters to the people in the following books in the series. So that does help for you to read them in order, but it's not a situation where it's following one couple each book. Book number 2 is called Let's Get Married. This one is 207 pages. I rated this one a 3.5 out of 5. Synopsis. We ain't getting no younger, so we might as well. Time waits for no man. That's what they say. It sure isn't waiting for Molly and Zach to get themselves together. Everybody in Preto has been trying to push them together since forever. They've done everything in their power to keep that from happening until now. He has a need and so does she. Can they strike a mutually beneficial deal without getting their hearts involved? The basis of this story is they want kids, y'all. They want kids. That's pretty much the basis of this story. They are two townies who grew up together, where their families have kind of been trying to create a perfect situation for them to be together, and they have both been opposed to it. And now they're at a point where they're in their 30s and they're not getting no younger, so they might as well just go ahead and get married to each other so that they can have the family that they want. And that's where we are in this story. So, my thoughts. I said I wish I could have gotten to know Zach more before he and Molly got married. We really don't learn anything. Well, me personally, I didn't really learn anything about Zach. It kind of just felt like he was here for a hot second. We heard Molly talk about him, and then they got married. Whereas we get more, I feel, of Molly's background in the beginning of the book. We don't see as much of Zach as we do in the beginning, as we see of Molly. So I do wish that it was a situation where it went back and forth between them a little better before the marriage happens. Because it does happen pretty soon in the book. It's not a situation where how many pages did I say this book was? 207. They don't wait till page 200 to get married. They're married pretty early in the book, and the book is about them falling in love post-marriage for the most part. I said Keegan's mom is still annoying. Keegan's mom is still annoying. If I'm not mistaken, is it Molly's mom and Keegan's mom are best friends? And Keegan and Molly basically grew up as cousins, I think is what it is. And in the book, Keegan's mom is still talking junk about Charity, and they done been together, engaged, married, whatever. They together now. Charity's mama had to come down and lay hands on her. It's like, girl, let it go. They together. So I said that Keegan's mom is still annoying. In this book, she actually puts her hands on Charity, which is when Charity's mama come to town and put her hands on her. I do feel like Charity should have hit Keegan's mom back. I said, I'm not going to give too much away, but in the book when it happens, Charity kind of just brushes it off like, oh, I'm fine. She's just like, not a big deal. I'm fine. Girl, I wouldn't have been fine. You hit me, I'm hitting you back. Mom or no mom. I said it feels like there's not enough interactions between the two main characters. Just them interacting with their respective families. It's not a lot of them as a couple to me. It's a lot of Molly with her crew and Zach with his crew, and then every so often they come together. So I do wish that there was more of just like them. In the first book with Keegan and Charity, it was a lot of just, it rushed to a certain point, and after a certain point, it was a lot of just them spending time together, them getting to know each other, them building a bond with each other. Whereas in this one, I don't know, it just felt like they were kind of like sidelined in their story. I said that miscarrying is a scary reality because Molly does have a miscarriage in this book, and it is hard to read about because that's pretty much the reason they end up getting together, for them to be able to have a family without it being out of wedlock. You know what I'm saying? And so seeing her have to experience those emotions, it was sad to read about, but I do still think that the story went too fast. Once it got to this ending as well, it kind of felt like the author was like, all right, let me wrap this up, just like it felt in the first book. The only reason I rated this one a little lower than the first book, the only reason this is a 3.5 instead of a 4, is because I felt like Zach and Molly were not as influential in their own story the way Keegan and Charity were in the first book of their own story. Still a great book. I still recommend the series. You all may not even notice the sideness of Zach and Molly. I noticed it, but, you know, reading is subjective. Or I'm not going to say that. Reading romance novels is subjective. All right. Let's go to the next book. Can you guys hear Andre's chair squeaking? All right. Let's go to the next book. Book 3 in the series is called Take Me to Church. This was my favorite book in the series. I rated it a 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. All right, let's read the synopsis. I'll worship like a dog at the shrine of your thighs. Naraya grew up in the church under a philandering pastor. In search of a new place to worship, she stumbles upon Preto Baptist. It's a cute little church with great energy and a beautiful man for a pastor who's looking for a secretary. Naraya offers her assistance, but keeps her eyes open in case Pastor Henry's intentions are less than holy. Dion's life consists of faith, family, and dealing with the town's foolishness. It's been years since he's looked at a woman, and unfortunately, he doesn't see that changing. Until his new secretary invades his space and senses. They ignore their attraction for as long as possible, but some matches are made in heaven, and you can do nothing to stop them. Can they avoid the obstacles in their path to make it to the altar, or will strong personal convictions halt their love before it even gets started? All right. Do I have a lot of thoughts? I think I have a lot of thoughts. A little bit of background. The philandering pastor that Naraya grew up under the church of is her father. Her father is the philanderer. So her idea of relationships and what they should look like and what kind of relationship you should have with holy men, it's very questionable. Because she's basically seen her father cheat on her mom her whole life. And throughout the book, she is abused for seeing these interactions. As opposed to the mom leaving, or as opposed to the mom being honest about what Naraya is experiencing. The mom hits her, slaps her, shuns her, whatever she gotta do. It's Naraya's fault that the husband is cheating, basically. Like, how dare you bring it to the forefront that my husband is cheating? It's kind of the vibe it takes. So Naraya is done with it, and she's like, I'm leaving this church. I'm leaving here with something. She leaves her church. Dion is the young pastor, and when I say young, he's still in his like 30s. He's the young pastor over at the Preto Baptist Church. His father was the original pastor. I forgot. I don't know who his daddy is, but he was the original pastor. And when Dion took over, he also implemented streaming his sermons. That's where Naraya first discovers the church, on a stream, on like social media somewhere. And she's really into the streams. She thinks that Dion is a great pastor. And so she's like, oh, I'll check this church out since I don't want to go to my home church anymore. So she gets a friend to drive down to Preto Village with her. I forgot how far away it is. I think they say it's like a half hour away. A half hour to an hour away. I forgot. Anyway, she starts commuting to the church that Dion is a pastor of in Preto Village. All right, my thoughts. Dion's constant Lord forgive me's are funny. He is interested in Naraya, and at first he's like, I know that she has told me that she struggles with philandering pastors and yada yada yada. So he like basically if he feels like that he doesn't want to fall into that same category because he's her pastor, and so it's like he feels like he's doing the same thing that her father's doing. So in the beginning, he'll be like staring at her or something. I have to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. In the beginning, he'll be staring at her or something, and he'll be like lusting after her, and he always follows it up with, "Lord forgive me, Lord forgive me, Lord forgive me," and it's funny. And his brother actually calls him out on it. Like, I forgot what scripture Dion is using anytime he's like having impure thoughts about Nariah, but anytime he does it, he quotes the scripture. I forgot what the scripture was. I should have wrote it down. Anyway, he quotes the scripture. His brother hears him, and he says, "That's the verse you're using? That's what you need to be using." His brother quotes a different Bible verse, and he's like, "This is what you need to be using when you be looking at her." But I forgot what verse it was. I forgot. I should have wrote it down. Anyways, I will say Dion's interactions with his friends and family in terms of like siblings and stuff is hilarious. I said that I was glad Nariah left her father's church. It's a very unfortunate situation. And it's, I ain't trying to be funny, but you know, all of us who've ever been to church, whatever church that is, we have examples of hypocrisy within said church, whether it be who's accepted versus who isn't accepted, or people accept all of these sins except one type of sin that they deem a sin, you know, whatever the case may be. If it ain't my sin, it's the only sin that people accept is theirs. If you get what I'm saying, like I feel like anybody who's walked in a church has experienced a moment of, you are not supposed to be doing that, or like old church ladies will sit up and talk about people, whatever the case may be. We've all experienced it. And Nariah experienced it on a different level. So I was just saying, I'm glad that she did end up finding a church home that she connected with and to. I really am enjoying the slow burn of this story over the previous two in the series. It gives me time to get to know the characters individually and together. In Keegan and Charity's story, it wasn't a slow burn. It did build up to the relationship, but because she didn't know anybody in town, I don't think it was a slow burn, if that makes sense. Zach and Molly already knew each other, so they get married pretty much immediately. Like, it's not a situation where it's slow to the process. Whereas this relationship, we get to see them come together, figure out they like each other, and then slowly ascend to a couple, and slowly ascend to marriage. Nariah is nervous about being in a relationship with a pastor because, you know, there are things that they cannot do before they're married. So we get to see like their conversations about that, see their dynamic in terms of that. You know, their relationship isn't clouded by a sexual relationship, and so we get to see what they like about each other, why they like each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just displayed in a different way, which I did enjoy. I like that this book was about 100 pages longer than the previous two. I feel like I learned so much more about the main characters. This book was, what did I say, how many pages? 302 pages long. And you can tell that the author took her time. You can tell that the author was like, I'm gonna get all the details out that I can get out. Whereas the other two, it felt like the author was trying to hit a page limit. This one doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like it's starting to rush by the time we are 3/4 of the way through the book. The other two books, it felt like by the time we got to 3/4 of the way in, everything was moving like this. Like, everything moved really fast. I did not feel that with this one. This one had a nice pacing. Like I said, over like 100 pages more in the book. So I feel like I actively was able to get to know the characters and build what I was learning on top of what else I learned on top of what else I learned, and it made me bond with the characters more to where me as a reader want to see them win. Me as a reader want them together. Whereas the first two books, it moved so fast in terms of the pacing. After a certain point, it felt like they're gonna be together anyway, and you're gonna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't a situation where I was necessarily rooting for them to work out. It was just like, it's clear the author is putting them together anyway. Whereas this one, because it was so much longer, I was able to root for them in a different kind of way. I said, I wish there was another convo between Naraya and her dad. I'm still wondering why her dad just lets her mom treat her badly. In the book, it's revealed that Naraya's dad is not the one who, because Naraya hates both her parents essentially, and she feels like they're both abusive because of what the dad is doing to the mom. But then she starts to sit back and think about it, and she realizes, like, oh, it's not my dad. Is my dad cheating on my mama? Yes, but he's not the one. He's never hit me. He's not the one who missed my wedding and came. Like, she starts to put two and two together that her mom is the one behind all of this. So she has like a final redemption moment with her parents where she goes to them to try to have a conversation and figure out, like, what can we do to rebuild this relationship. She realizes, like, oh, it's not my dad, it's my mom. And then she kind of just like, I'm done with y'all, and she leaves. But I wish that she would have had a conversation with her dad separate, because I'm wondering now why her dad allows her mom to treat her that way. It's never explained. And maybe it's supposed to be inferred as like he feels bad for the way he treats her mom, and so that's his way of letting her get back at him. I don't know. But I wish that that moment could have like been revisited before the end of the book, because when she tries to have the conversation, she's having a conversation with her dad and it's going pretty well, and then her mom arrives home and jumps into the conversation as well and kind of bulldozes the conversation, and we don't ever really find out why the dad is accepting of the mom's behavior towards Naraya when he's the one that's cheating. But overall, like I said, I gave the book a 5 out of 5. I greatly enjoyed this book. This is my favorite one in the series. Even if y'all only read one book, this is the one I recommend you read. Alright, last book in the series, book number 4. It's called Cloudy with a Chance of Romance. I rated this book a 3.5 out of 5. It is 186 pages long. Synopsis. Pulled back to Preto by a request from her grandfather, Imani Sparks just wants to handle his affairs well and make him proud. Talking about her grandfather. She wants to handle her grandfather's affairs well and make her grandfather proud. Some townspeople and family members don't think she's capable due to a bit of cloudiness, especially not while running around town with her new friend. Elias Brewster is in town for just a little while. He's looking for restful time off and somebody to spend it with. The catch is, once he's gone, he's gone. With things being so cloudy, can they clear the way for a little romance? Child, my reading. Real quick, Imani is, what was his name? Ali, the old man. He's like the oldest man in town. She's his granddaughter. He is getting older, and he decides to make Imani and I can't think of her brother's name. Is Zach Imani's brother? I can't think of who her brother is. Anyway, Imani and her brother, his guardians, and puts himself under guardianship because he's getting older and he is not as the young man he once was. And he owns a grocery store in town. He has a certain amount of wealth. So he's like, before my kids who don't spend no time with me come down here and try to take over, while I'm still of sound mind and body, going to sign everything over to these two grandchildren who have always supported me, basically, is what the background is for her. Elias is a physician's assistant, and he's a traveling physician's assistant. His parents have basically like retired to Preto Village, and he comes to help them get their new house set up. So while he's in town, he's helping them get their house set up for a few weeks until he waits for like the summer to end for him to go on his next traveling assignment as a physician's assistant. But in doing that, he comes across Keegan. Keegan is now running the medical clinic by himself. The old man is now gone, and he has hired a few new people, but he still needs more help. He finds out that a traveling physician's assistant is coming to town for a few months, and he's like, hey, I can't pay you a lot, but would you... Keegan finds out a physician's assistant is moving to town. He offers him a contract for a couple of months. Can't pay you a lot, but you should do this since you're in town anyway, basically. So he, Elias sticks around. He ends up being the one who's doing home visits. So he goes to Ali's house to check on Ali and May and whatnot. That's when he meets, Imani, their granddaughter, because she is on the property. Anyway, here are my thoughts. The clueless act at Imani's big age is kind of a boring angle. They kind of carry her like this naive girl who doesn't know anything, and I do not like that, because she's left home. It's not a situation where she is this sheltered girl who's only experienced Preto village in her whole life. No, she moved to a bigger town, and she only came back because her grandfather asked her to. She is educated. She is also of a particular age. None of these people are 20. She's in her 30s as well. She is not an inexperienced woman. And I don't like that the story paints her out to be that. I think it's kind of like I said, a boring angle. So I do like Elias so far. I do like Elias, his dynamics with Ali, the grandfather, and with the other men in town come off very organic. And he comes off as very, very confident, very sure of himself, very like manly man without being like stereotypical, if that makes sense. I said, Imani honestly annoyed me the entire book. Her clueless act at the big age of 33 was annoying. I could feel a little more understanding if the author wrote her as being neurodivergent, which we are not told anywhere in the book that she is neurodivergent, but I'm saying the way she acts would make sense if that was what we were told. But we are supposed to believe that she's a strong, brave, smart woman, and at the same time, she's this sheltered, oh, I don't know anything. Oh, I'm so. And it drove me nuts. It's not believable that a 33-year-old educated woman with life experience and is supposed to be sexually liberated. And I'm saying that because Elias and her relationship is a situationship. And it's not a relationship of exclusiveness. There is basically a situation where Elias is like, I'm in town, I need somebody to have fun with. You want to have fun, we might as well have fun with each other. So if you're okay with that, why are you so naive and annoying? Anyway, I said she's supposed to be liberated but can't read basic cues. That is the vibe this book gives me. So overall, I rated it a 3.5 out of 5. Like I said, I enjoyed the entire series. I did enjoy every book. Let me know if you guys read this book series, and if you have read it, which book is your favorite. Do you like them all? Do you dislike one of them? Whichever one. Once again, the series is Preto Village. All 4 books are written by an author named AshleyNicole. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.